I bought a new dream guitar. Too bad UPS ruined it. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I really don't exactly know what this guitar is in this box. I know what guitar is in this box, I just don't exactly know why it exists. We're just gonna have to take this thing out and enjoy it for what it is, because I might not have all the answers today. But whatever made this thing happen, it's an homage to a late 70s, early 80s Gibson model. But this episode was all made possible by Victor Becker over in Germany. He had this thing on Reverb for a while. I decided to make him an offer, and lo and behold, we were able to make a deal. So thanks, Vito. I'm looking forward to this one. So we've got a Gibson custom case here, so this thing can't be that old. So why are there so many questions behind it? Well, it's because it's from the mid to late 2000s, a very uncharted territory for the most part. Inside here, my friends, sleeps a super custom. Ah, yeah, that's right. So I can at least teach you guys about the super customs again today, but let's just really take this in. We've got super 400 inlays, that insane flame top. We've got some really weird specs as far as our headstock is concerned. I mean, if I told you this came straight out of the 70s and 80s, you'd probably believe me with a brass nut and brass truss rod cover. But my friends, you've only seen the half of it. Usually this is the money shot for a Les Paul, but hey, what's going on our sides? That's also flamed maple? Hey, check out this back. It's also flamed maple. Hey, check out this neck. It's 5-piece flame maple. Hey, check out this headstock. It's a Stinger. I love this thing. I mean, this is a super custom on steroids. But oh no. Just when I was ready to get you guys on a whole history-fueled adventure here, we've got some very concerning finish checking back here. Maybe it's been repaired previously or didn't survive shipping, so the show must go on, and I'm still going to be happy about it, but that's a bummer. So, the Super Custom. That model was initially made of runoff V Les Pauls, you know, these big boys. They had everything that we just saw here, except for they were a one-piece flame maple neck. They had it on the back, they had it on the sides. Now, they didn't have the Stinger, but they had all wooden appointments. But after those were done, Gibson decided to do a Les Paul custom that was very similar, and that's known as a Super Custom nowadays. Neal Schon is a very famous user. If you don't know who he is, you know, Journey. However, Mr. Sean's playing really captivated Japan. So the original Super Customs are either 79 or 80 serial numbers, but then there's a Japan exclusive version done up in 1984. Their specs are a little bit different. I've also documented one of those here. And for whatever reason, all those ones that ever show up have headstock brakes. So this guitar is really trying to pay homage to Neal's actual one with the uncovered zebra bobbin pickup. Normally a super fancy guitar like this, Gibson wouldn't use an uncovered pickup in the bridge, but it makes sense if you know the history of the Super Custom model. Now, this is obviously going super 400 inlays here, so that means it's more so trying to be a reissue of the 1984 variation. Some of those went all the way up the neck, the other ones didn't. But when was this guitar created? This is not an 80s model, this one's from 2008. So I'm best guessing this was either a custom order because somebody wanted this, or most likely it is part of the Gibson Popular Demand series. So there's not a lot of information out there on the Popular Demand series, unfortunately, but it's essentially a very small run where they would say, hey, you want this guitar? And however many people ordered it, they made that many. So you have things like the first Les Paul Burst, which was actually a 1956 Les Paul. But then there was another cool model called the Les Paul 25, which was kind of a reissue of the 25 50th anniversary Les Paul, but I don't want to talk too much about that one because I'll document one day. So it makes complete sense here that this might be part of that. However, I have never seen another one of these before. I've seen people call them Super Customs, but it didn't say that here on our truss rod cover. In fact, even the original Super Customs, they were just called Les Paul Limited Edition. Super Custom was a fan-given term, so the fact that this one has it on the guitar makes it actually very special. I do need to make one small clarification. Since recording this, I did find one other one from 2015 that was custom ordered by a dealer in Japan that also got the Super Custom truss rod cover. But as far as I'm aware, at this point in time, those are the only two. But let's see, what kind of case candy do we have in here? Got our original silica packet, a pick guard in case you want to be a crazy guy, a customer care guide, regular old Gibson custom tag, and then our COA booklet. Now, does it actually call it a Super Custom in here? Yes, indeed, it does. Les Paul Super Custom. So, to learn a little bit more about this particular Super Custom, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs before we get a playing sample. Inside the Super Custom, let's see how they spec this thing out. Once again, neck pickup has gold cover, and it looks like we're within the 57 Classic era, so that's what we've got in here. The bridge pickup, despite being uncovered, still has the gold pole pieces though, so you know it's a match to this set. And it doesn't have the sticker on it anymore, but that's not all that uncommon to happen. But it looks like we have a short neck tenon, and what's interesting about these super guitars, as I call them, is the fact that despite having maple everywhere else on the back, top, and sides, they're still mahogany guitars, so I call them mahogany cores. However, now that I'm looking at this one, I don't think it was built the same way as the originals. I'll have to take a look at the back to see for sure, so put that thought on hold. The bridge pickup reads 7.69 k ohms, our neck position at 7.77, very lucky, and in the middle 3.86. And I actually found another damaged area on this guitar while I was taking a deeper look at it. The pickup ring is cracked. That's actually really good for proving that this did experience some sort of a big jostling drop, because usually you don't break a pickup ring unless there was a huge force. Another special feature about this guitar is the screws that are used to secure the pickup rings. They're actually gold. Gibson does not normally do that. They're typically black or just a regular chrome. So that is a premium feature. It's honestly kind of strange looking once you know that that's not usually how Gibson does things. So it has the regular Nashville style bridge, which I'm okay with because that's what the original ones had. And we have a full weight tailpiece. And obviously, it's an insanely beautiful guitar, kind of an iced tea sunburst going on here. Extra heavily flamed, it's extra moving, it's a two-piece flame maple top, you've got your golden speed knobs. I mean, this is a nice top. I mean, sure, it could be a little bit more wavy than it is, but it's very nice. I just really love the side profile shot of this guitar. I mean, it just comes to life here. But just like a regular Les Paul Custom, it has an ebony fretboard, but again, we've got the Super 400 inlays that go all the way up and down the neck. So that makes it a little bit different from a normal Custom on top of all the maple everywhere. Spec-wise, it's still 24 3/4 inches with a 12-inch radius fretboard. And our sweet brass nut measures 1.7 inches and increases to 2.07 by the 12th, with a first fret neck depth of 0.86. Then increases to 1.02 by the 12th. Now you're kind of starting to catch the heel, so we'll take it back at the 10th too, and that's 0.97. Here's what the neck looks like at the 1st and 12th fret. It's nice and rounded towards the beginning of the neck, but then as you go further down, it kind of gets a longer C shape and a little bit flatter. And the headstock's just regular Les Paul Custom here for the most part. Our truss rod is looking good, and the engraved Les Paul Custom truss rod cover. The only one that I've seen that has the actual name on it. So the seller of this claims it's actually part of the Popular Demand series like we're hypothesizing. However, I can't find a single other one. I can't even find a good brochure that documents every single Popular Demand one. So if you happen to have an old catalog that contains them, please send it to me via email, because I need to at least make a video or some sort of a forum post. That way these things do not become lost to time, because there were so many cool 2008 models. They could become the next big collectible here in like 20, 30 years. Switching over to the backside, you know what? I think I'm wrong. Looking back here, I can see the flame figuring running through all of this. So I'm actually hypothesizing here that this is not built like an original Super Custom. I seriously think it's just a big chunky flame maple body that they put a two-piece flame maple top on. That doesn't make sense. Unless it just wasn't thick enough to do a carved one-piece top, which, okay, I guess I can kind of get that, why they would want to do a carved top made out of different woods. But the original Super Customs were like what I was saying. It was basically just a very thin back that was maple, and then they would put the flame maple around the edges. Kind of like how they do ES335s, just the whole laminate maple. But I'm not seeing any dark mahogany coloring, and I see that flame figuring going through all of it, which isn't always possible to show on camera, but I seriously think that's how they did it. And there was something else that tipped me off that this was built differently than the original Super Customs. The cutaway area right here. You see this? There's nothing there. Original ones would have a binding cap. The same thing is true at the bottom strap button. I always hypothesized that's because they didn't want to do that extreme carve and they wanted to break up the pieces of the flamed maple just to make it easier on themselves. So if this truly is just a figured maple body, that would make sense why they didn't do it like normal. But for a little bit, I was thinking, okay, did they just stop right here? Because there's like almost no figured flame in the cutaway area. But if you get it in the light just right, you can at least see some right here. And I thought that they sprayed this really dark finish down here to hide where the laminate strips didn't line up. But, you know, now that I've seen the rest of this, I really do think it's just a figured maple body. Which honestly, in that case, kind of makes this guitar even cooler than the original run. But normally you would see like another maple shelf like right here where it joins to the woods. And maybe it is there and it just lines up really well and they used a maple core instead of mahogany, but yeah, I think I'm wrong about the whole mahogany core that I thought I was seeing earlier. But anyways, we've got the Gibson branded pots with non-historic style wiring. Everything looks about right here for 2008. We've got the awesome figuring back here, which is all one piece if it is something that was put on there and it's not just the back. And there is no center seam on this, so that is one solid piece here. And again, the awesome flamage on the side. Then we move up the neck. So 3 pieces flamed maple, and then you get 2 walnut stripes down the centers. And then we get up here to the very sad area that got damaged, but you get your Stinger, Gibson Custom Shop decal, Gold Grover tuners, and the serial number of this one. And after looking at this, I'm pretty sure these are just finish checks, you know, in the clear coat. However, that's still damage, and that happened due to being dropped. And the fact that they happen here means we know it has actually had a detrimental effect to the neck, because the finish wouldn't just crack there for no reason. So here's the dilemma here. You can't really fix this, and if you do fix it, you're messing with the originality of the finish, which then devalues the guitar. It's kind of a hairy situation. I had this happen on a The Les Paul once, because sadly, even if this is just finish deep, it deeply impacts the value of the guitar because of where it is. It's like that 1991 Les Paul Custom I had that one time. Beautiful guitar, probably worth $8,000 to $9,000 just because of how fantastic that example was. However, it had the very ugly finish check there, and yeah, that knocked off a good 40% of its potential value. But if you were going to repair this, you would essentially have to refinish the entire neck to make sure it all blends perfectly, because that's what's tricky about this. If you just wanted to sand it down here, you've got Cherry Sunburst, you've got a Stinger, you've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Now, I guess if it was just in the clear coat and you could somehow remove just the clear coat, you could probably re-clear the entire neck. Even if you do that, you're devaluing the guitar because you're messing with the original finish. But hey, for being a potentially complete maple body, 10.5 pounds isn't too bad. 10 pounds, 7 ounces. All right, let's go ahead and get a brief sound sample out of this one. love Super Customs. You can't have one of these and not play any way you want it, because it's the any way you want it guitar. It's got some nice crunchy tones to it. Let's try out some clean tones. Now that we know all about this 2008 Super Custom, what are my final thoughts on this thing? Man, absolutely surprised. Like, I've had original Super Customs. They are some of the most special 80s guitars out there. I'm a big fan of the band Journey. Neal Schon is an absolute monster on guitar. Like, I could try to play like him, but it would take many, many years of practicing. And he's got some pretty cool iconic guitars outside of just the Super Custom. He just recently auctioned some stuff off. You can check that video out right here. But the fact that this one turned out just to straight up be a maple body was kind of surprising, if I am indeed seeing the construction of this particular one right. But I hope this video surfaces more of these, maybe, because maybe it was just a one-off within this series, since I can't find any other ones out there. Like, they wanted to do this, but then they thought, maybe not. We can't find that many thick slabs of flame maple. I mean, they can make at least 2 or 3 tops out of stuff like that. Yeah, it got damaged in shipping, but I mean, it's not so bad to give up on it if it's this rare, right? I just love Super Customs, and I hope you guys enjoyed checking this one out with me today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.